You're live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much for joining us on this late night version of the MMAHOLICS podcast. Tonight, and we got episode 3. Just having a quick postcast, y'all. Wanted to review some of the results from UFC Vegas 83, Song versus Gutierrez. Of course, the card that just took place last Saturday. We were going to preview a new fight announcement. The feature bout, presuming the feature bout for UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Topuria, and that new fight announcement being the officially announced Merab Dvashvili versus Henry Cejudo. But before we get to that, you gotta ask my man how he's doing. How you doing, Nikki? You good, bro?
I'm good, man. Enjoying my Sunday before the long week ahead of us. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's fresh off work, man. I had to work this night shift tonight, man. It's glad I could get back and good enough time to just talk a little bit of fights on this evening, man, and just have a good night, man. Glad you could join me like always, man. Always love talking fights with you, man, and then just about to get this done, man. But yeah, man, we go ahead and get started. Started out with the first fight on the main card. Oh yeah, and y'all, my friend Nikki had only got to catch some of the main card fights because he has an exam he's studying for, so he really only got to catch the main card fights off honest prioritization. So we're gonna discuss the ones we both got to watch last Saturday, and yeah, man, going to Andre Muniz versus Jung Young Park. Yeah, man, this is one of those fights where you're really gonna really try to prioritize like control time over damage. Andre Muniz having the control time most definitely, and Jung Young Park landing most of the damaging strikes. I thought Jung Young Park looked good, man. Even though it was a loss on the record, I didn't think he looked bad in the fight. I thought Andre Muniz did a good job at adjusting. Like when he got the control time, he was, doing a good job at, not, I don't want to say holding off for dear life, but just like really good job at implementing his game plan with really good top control. Really firm grip, not letting him really like any position he could get the control time in, he was doing it, which I get it, like you do anything you can to win the fight, especially if the grappling is your strong suit, like a fighter like Andre Muniz. Coming out of the fight, it sucked because, Jung Young Park was on a pretty good win streak going into this fight, and Andre Muniz was the one that was losing. So, we kind of messed up to give Jung Young Park like another step up after losing this fight. So I'm pretty sure like they'll give him someone like right underneath the middleweight rankings. If I had to guess, like maybe even like 13 through 15 if he's gonna get a ranked opponent. If I had to think of someone for him to fight, I wouldn't mind like Michel Pereira at all. I think that'd be a good fight if him and Michel Pereira were to fight. I know Michel Pereira has moved up from welterweight. He's fighting at middleweight now. And I think that'd be a fun fight, man. I think that'd be a really good clash of styles. And we know how durable the Iron Turtle is, man. And like he's just a really good fighter, charismatic too, the way he'll do his dance. And yeah, man, this was a good win for Andre Muniz, man. It's really good bounce back performance from Muniz. Did what he was supposed to do coming off those losses, man. It's about getting the W's at the end of the day, and he did that, man. And he looked good, man. It was a solid performance for Andre Muniz, and yeah, man, how'd you feel about it if you got to see some of this fight,
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the MMA. You gotta be able to defend that takedown. It's gonna lose you fights if you can't. I got the stats pulled up. It was 11 of 14 takedowns he executed. So I mean, that's gonna lose you fights if you can't guard the takedown. That's one of the most important things is having a full skill set in the MMA. So it's definitely a learning experience. That's what I have to say about that fight.
Yeah, man. I just thought, it was what it was, hopefully Park can just get back on the train, get back on that momentum that he had. I don't really think he lost much of his momentum coming off this loss, man. I just really think Muniz did what he needed to do. And it was kind of controversial though. Like there's some people that think Jun Park got it done, even regardless of the control time. So it really just depends how you look at it. Of course, I don't like to be biased. We didn't get to do a show for this card, so I didn't get to put a pick in. I was gonna pick Park. I'll be quite honest. So I would have got it wrong. But like, yeah, because I really liked Jun Park's fighting style, and I thought he could have got the job done. But again, all credit to Andre Muniz, and this was a good performance, man.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like the control time way to victory, but I mean, it's part of the game. Your favorite fighter may win by it and may lose by it. So you got to be able to defend those takedowns. And he had 2 reversals, which is good. He did match he had 3 minutes of control time, I see, compared to 9.5 minutes. So, 9.5 minutes in a 15-minute fight is a lot of time that you are being controlled.
Yeah, like I agree. Like, yeah, man, it's just a part of it, in that case, it really comes on to Jun Park to be prepared. He knew he was fighting a grappler in this fight. He knew what Andre Muniz was going to bring to the cage. And, yeah, man, I just thought he looked good. Still in a loss, he didn't look too bad. And of course, Muniz looked good too. And that was it, man. And yeah, for Andre Muniz, I said Michelle Pereira for Jun Park. For Andre Muniz, of course, it's only fair to give the winner an opponent as well. Nursultan Ruzi Boev, maybe. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. That'd be a good matchup. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like who? Andre Muniz is right now. I would like to see Nursultan get that matchup, but I don't think he is, unfortunately. But yeah, again, he was coming off some losses before this. I do think Andre should still kind of fight one of the lower tier ranked middleweights, something like somewhere around there. I know Jack Hermansson's fighting Joe Pyfer or something like that. But yeah, or maybe
Curtis is already scheduled.
Yeah, Chris Curtis, or maybe Kyle Bahayo. I think that'd be good too. Kyle Bahayo, the natural, that'd be really good. I think he's really good. That'd be because he's looked phenomenal, and I thought he's deserved a ranked opponent for a little while now. Kyle Bahayo, so I think that'd be a good fight, good matchup for him. But yeah, was there anything else you had to discuss on this card, or
that's it for me? We'll move on to the next fight.
Got you. Sounds good, man. Yeah, I'm with it, boy. Always. And yeah, going on to this fight, man, turning back the clock for Tim Elliott. That was a great performance for Tim Elliott. Straight up, man. Straight up and down. On short notice at that. I think it was 2 weeks to be exact. Just coming in like that and sticking to his game plan, got him to the ground really quick in the first round, really imposed his will in a really good way, super dynamic with the takedown, got him to the ground, man, and then did the arm triangle choke. Now, a lot of people were definitely picking Sumo Darji going into this fight, even, coming off the loss to Matt Chanel. That was over a year ago. So you would have, he was definitely taking some time off to improve his skills, like most fighters do when they suffer a loss like that. Even though the Matt Chanel loss, that was one of the greatest fights that year. That was a war, that was super duper electric. And it was just really cool to see Matt Chanel weather that storm and get that finish like that, So but going into this fight, Sumo Darji, of course, was trying to bounce back. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in his favor. He's still really young, man. He's still really young. And he was ranked relatively high for the absence that he had in the flyweight division. I think Sumo Darji was still ranked number 11 at the time of this loss. So that even showed you, the UFC is not afraid to bump somebody down in the rankings or even strip a ranking if a fighter takes some time off more than they like, So I think that really showed they saw the potential in Sumo Darji, even coming off the loss to Matt Chanel. So, yeah, man, this was a great win for Tim Elliott. It was just an emphatic finish, man. It was the way that he got the job done. And he just looked great, man. He just looked really good. First round submission for Tim Elliott. he said in the post fight that he knows he's probably not gonna get a title run. You know, he's more than likely gonna just have fun fights and just make money. And I mean, hey, you know, like who wouldn't want that? You know, if someone asks you on the street what you do for a living, you say you're a professional martial artist. You know, you're a UFC fighter. You know, that's really cool, bro. Like this is one of the coolest jobs in the world still to this day. You know, and I would like to see him maybe fight like, you know, David Dvorak, something like that. Cody Durden's matched up. He's actually fighting on 296. But yeah, maybe someone like a David Dvorak, something like that. I still think Tim Elliott's good enough to fight ranked opponents. They're gonna try to feed him to the young up and comers and stuff like that, like how he just fought Muhammad Mokaev and guys of that nature. Don't be surprised if they haven't fought already. I don't think they have, because he hasn't gotten a ranked opponent yet. Don't be surprised if Tatsudo Taira fights Tim Elliott next. Tatsudo Taira fought on this card. It was a good performance against Carlos Hernandez. It was a great performance. Knocked him out. His first ever TKO finish in the UFC. He looked great. Getting that knockout like that in that fashion with the follow-up shots on the ground. And yeah, like I would like something like that. I know Tatsudo Taira called out Mokaev, but I don't think the UFC is gonna make that. I think they're gonna let that marinate for a little bit longer. They're both super young and undefeated. They're both literally a year apart at like 22 and 23, and they're both undefeated and they both look phenomenal. They both have their fair amount of adversity in their matchups, but that's a product of them being young, fighting these 28, 29, 30-year-old, grown men. And I think once Tatsudo Taira and Muhammad Mokaev are in their mid-20s and stuff like that, they're going to be monsters. But, of course, focusing on these two guys right here, Tim Elliott only got on those guys because I feel like they're really going to try to make Tim Elliott fight these up-and-comers, man. When I think that Tim Elliott could still just fight guys around, like, the mid-ranked level around his age. You know, I think he's deserved that respect, not get fed to the killers, like how we're seeing on 296 in a couple ways on that 296 pay-per-view. You know, but yeah, how'd you feel about it though? Tim Elliott's performance and the Sumo Darji loss.
Good submission. You put him out. Yeah, you're right. You know, he might just stay around there and just fight dudes to get his money. More like a testing. He's like a testing fighter. See if he can get into the rankings or can't get into the rankings before they get a ranked fighter. And that's really good for each division to have someone like that. He's a great fighter, has a good skill set, and that's a short turnaround. Abu Dhabi was, right? He fought last against Mokaev?
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a quick turnaround. You know, all congrats to him for winning that fight, getting it done in the first two. You know, we'd love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see the USA fighters putting on, you know?
Yeah, man, it was cool to see him turn back the clock. We all know how much of a fan favorite that Tim Elliott is, and that was a great win for him, man. In a fight where you know a lot of people had him losing, and again, especially on short notice like that, you know. But yeah, that was all I really had to say. And even then, to give an opponent for Sumo Darji, I don't think they're gonna cut Sumo Darji. That was 2 losses in a row. He's 3-3 inside the UFC. I just think he still has a lot of potential at 27, being a 5'8" flyweight with his reach. I just still think he has a lot of potential, man. And I get it. Like, that was a bad loss, you know. But Tim Elliott's a veteran, man. He almost choked out Demetrius Johnson at one point, you know. So I really think that, like, you know, he can still bounce back, you feel? But, yeah, even trying to get an opponent for Sumo Darji, I don't think there are layups inside the UFC. I don't like to say that because, you know, it's the Ultimate Fighting Championship. It should be the best fighting the best, literally at all times. But man, like maybe like a Jake Hadley, like Jake Hadley's coming off a loss. He's had his fair share of UFC adversity himself, coming off Contender Series, being, you know, undefeated and all that. He's 2-2 inside the UFC himself. He also has a 500 UFC record. So I think that'd be a good fight, for sure, with Jake Hadley and Sumo Darji. That'd be a good fight for sure, definitely. And I was saying that, you know, I don't think that David Dvorak is scheduled. Because I know he's coming off that loss to Steve Erceg. Yep. So he's not scheduled. So I would like to see something like that. Maybe Tim Elliott get like, David Dvorak, somewhere around there, But you got any more thoughts on this matchup, or that's it?
That's it. I like that Tatsuro matchup, though. That'd be a good one. Both coming off wins. Timing matches up perfectly. That would be a good matchup to see.
For sure, man. Definitely.
It's a good one.
Absolutely. I agree. And yeah, man, moving on to the feature bout of this fight night. It was a knockout by Nasrat Haqparast over Jamie Mullarkey. This was a crazy knockout, man. It was just the way and like how he put him out, man. And like Jamie got back up to his feet and he still kept like eating.
He couldn't 100% come back.
He couldn't recover, man. He just still kept getting clipped. Now, granted, like I do agree with Paul Felder that moment did indeed show how tough he was, being able to even work his way. That's will right there. That's the
Dan Hooker flashes in him, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, nah, like I absolutely agree. Like that's the will of not even the fighter, of the man, to get up after still, and I get it, the ref still stopped it, but if that's a street fight, that shows you he's not going to give up. You have to kill that dude to really get him out of there. You feel me? And I respect Jamie Mullarkey a lot for having that kind of fight courage and even having the courage at all to step in there and even take damage, even in a win, if he would have won this fight, But yeah, it was a beautiful performance for Nasrat, Baby Kelvin, as some of the MMA community call him. It was cool, man. It was a good win. It was a good knockout. He needed it, man. I feel like he needed it. Like he needed it for himself to really show like he really deserves to be here, because he was on a skid himself for a little bit. And now that's 3 wins in a row for Nasrat. He's 8-4. The last losses he had were to Dan Hooker and Bobby Green. So that shows you like those were 2 guys, 2 ranked lightweights, like those aren't bad losses, And I really think Nasrat at 28 years old, he's just turned 28 in August. He's really starting to find his potential now. And I really think like he can do it, man. Not win a belt. Who knows? Like, who knows, man? It can happen. But I think he can definitely make his way towards the rankings as some of the older guys start to fall out now. I think he could definitely be, like at least number 15, like to 15 to 12, somewhere around there. He could definitely be a good little, a good ranked lightweight in the bottom of the rankings. And not saying he can't climb his way up. Just saying, I know with this level he's at right now, I think he could definitely at least deserve a shot at the bottom of the lightweight rankings. And we all know how stacked of a division that lightweight is. At one point, the number 15 guy at lightweight was Damiris Magulov, and he was like 21-1. So that really showed you how literally, like no exaggeration, it is super stacked. But going in opponent for Nasrat, can maybe get like a Matt Frevola, something like that. Matt Frevola's coming off a loss, a loss where he was trying to climb up the rankings. So you know what that means. He now has to defend his spot. And I really think that, he should fight a young up-and-comer. And Nasrat, that'd be a banger fight. Both guys like to box, use their hands. That'd be a good fight, man. So that's a fight that Nasrat and Matt can win. I think it's a pretty even matchup, and I'd like that fight. How you feeling, bro?
You wouldn't want to see him get a ranked opponent, a low-ranked opponent?
Ranked? Yeah. So Matt Frevola, as of right, well, like on the UFC, on the thing, it shows Matt Frevola as 14.
Oh, he's 14?
And it also shows Bobby Green.
I see Bobby Green.
As 14. So okay. So either way,
maybe mine's not updated.
I would like Bobby. That's fine. The app be kind of wonky, but either I was just saying around that number, like even number 14, because I was thinking that they're gonna say Bobby Green for Paddy Pimblett. I'm thinking they're gonna let Bobby Green fight. Not saying he's just gonna like beat Tony like that, but I think like that's the fight they want next. That he was 37 years old. He's number 14. He's a striker, so he won't. I mean, Paddy's a grappler for the most part, so it's not like. But I mean, like, still, it's an older guy that they think out of any of these dudes, out of any of these lightweights. I mean, and that's no diss to Bobby, like, at all, man. Bobby can, like, most people are picking Bobby against Paddy even after Bobby just lost to Jalen Turner like that. You feel me? But I just think, like, they can't, like, Patty's already like 5-0 inside the UFC. So what's he gonna do? Like, be like 9-0, still fighting unranked dudes? Like, come on, man. He has to get up in there, man.
Yeah.
And who knows? He might do good. We got to see it happen. And the moment he does get a ranked fight, like, that's gonna be one of the rare times you see like the number 13 guy find an unranked dude in like the co-main event of a fucking pay-per-view or something like that.
The co-main event in an unranked fight. That's crazy.
Literally, yeah, seriously. Like, Jared Gordon wasn't even, they were both unranked, and it was the co-main on a pay-per-view. Of course, you all know a lot of stuff happened at 282, but it was still the feature bout even before then, because it had 2 title fights on it. So even saying all that, I only said that because, of course, I'm talking about Nasrat and Jamie Mullarkey.
Yeah.
I only said that because I would like for Nasrat to get maybe a Bobby Green, get that rematch, you know. But I'm thinking they're going to say Bobby for maybe Patty if Patty beats Tony, because they want to get Patty that ranked opponent. So maybe because Hinata Moicano has an opponent now.
Moicano does? I had him pulled up. I was going to say, who's he got?
It's Drew Dober.
Oh, that did get announced. I might have seen that on Twitter.
Actually. Drew Dober.
Okay.
It's supposed to be Drew Dober.
Maybe the steamroller matchup. Maybe Matt Favola is the way to go for that.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I wouldn't mind that.
Kelvin Gastelum wants to go down another way.
No, lightweight, stop playing. And what? Fight his twin.
He could get a great fight. Yeah.
I'm saying a fight his doppelganger. Nah, it'll kill Kelvin. But yeah, man. I guess like you can give him Matt Favola. You can give him Matt Favola. Let that be the last test. You know, of course, that test just got knocked out via a head kick, but the dude that knocked him out is a monster. Benoit Saint Denis. So you can't really take too much away from that. And Matt Favola was on a 3-fight knockout streak himself before that happened. So, but yeah, that was really it for me. And for Jamie Mullarkey. This was a bad loss, man. It was. Even though I get it, he has a lot of heart, but he's been getting knocked out, man. He's really young, and it's bad when you see a young fighter like that, 29, and his chin and start to go. 5 out of his 7 losses are via knockout, you know. So it's getting to a point where he's 5-5 inside the UFC. He was alternating on a win-loss record. Like, he just got the win-loss, the last 5 being the loss. So I think they are going to give him definitely another one. He's a fun fighter. They like fun fighters. They can put him on an Australia card, and he will get a pop. He's a popular fighter in Australia. And yeah, man. Like, it's really just is what it is. You know, it's the fight game, and congratulations to Nasrat Haqparast, and hopefully Jamie can bounce back, you know. But going to the 2 biggest results of the night, we got the co-main event. Man, this was a passing of the torch right here, man. This was a passing of the torch moment. That's what they set this fight up for. I kind of felt iffy about the matchup when Anthony Smith took it. I was watching the Believe You Me podcast, the watch along, when they were watching Anthony in the fight. And Michael even said, like, I kind of don't want to say like this. I'm quoting him when I say this, but he said, I kind of don't want to say this, but when I saw when I saw the fight got announced, he was worried. Michael said he was worried, you know. So that really showed you, even one of his friends, you know, that believes in his friend's fighting ability, thought it was a bad matchup for him, you know. So it just shows you, man, that, like, I really think Father Time is starting to get to Anthony Smith. I get it. He's only 35 years old in the light heavyweight division, but look how many fights he has, you know? Anthony Smith has had so many fights in his career. Like, seriously. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like, it's 56 fights, you know? 56 fights. 19 of them being losses. Some of them, like, you know, finished, like, you know, getting finished. And then he had some injuries, like versus Magomed Ankalaev, and like it's a bunch of stuff, you know. But of course, he has good wins too. He's a former title challenger. He's just been up and down and around, man. Smith's done it all, man. He's been in Strikeforce, like he's fought everywhere to get to the UFC. You feel me? And he climbed all the way to fight for the belt against John Jones. You know, of course, it didn't go his way that night. But even then he went on a win streak after that, and just yeah, man. But I think right now it's just like and don't get me wrong, this itself was just a bad stylistic matchup. They could give Smith another fight and he could win. But I just don't know. Like at 35 years old, man, it's only gonna get harder. It's only gonna get harder for Khalil when as Khalil climbs up the rankings. Now, okay, here's your reward. You get to fight Magomed Ankalaev, Yuri, Alex Pereira. Of course, he called Alex Pereira out.
He wants
I'm saying, yeah. And I was gonna say, like, these dudes are fighters. Like, it's different when you got skills, Like, you're not scared.
I think it comes from his knockout power, that he feels like he could finish anyone early. I don't think he has the confidence that he's going 5 rounds with Magomed Ankalaev, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's the fact that he knows he can knock anybody out, and there's no one invincible in light heavyweight. We've seen all these dudes lose, So I think that's why. We've seen every light heavyweight lose. Right? Magomed draw, right?
Because Ankalaev, like, it's so crazy. How Paul Craig has submission. Like, he's the only single loss of Jamal Hill in Magomed Ankalaev, bro. Like, it's a one man. He's not even in fucking light heavyweight no more.
But we've seen all these dudes lose. I think that's where his confidence comes from. He knows he could go in there, knock anyone out, and become a champion on his greatest night. So I think that's where his confidence comes from.
And he should have it. And, like, that's what I was going to get to, too. I was going to say that I get it. Like, it's different when you got skills, when you believe in yourself, you can beat these dudes. I know what I signed up for when I first started training. Like, why would I be scared of these dudes? Of course, I'm speaking on Khalil's hat when I say that. But yeah, man, it was a good performance for Khalil. He was chopping him down with the leg kicks really early when Smith was trying to come out with the pressure, trying to back Khalil up against the cage. Khalil was doing really good footwork, just like circling the outside of the octagon, of that black octagon in the middle of the cage, and just picking apart the legs over and over, just chopping them legs over and over. And he just looked really good, man. Looked fast. Like, this was most definitely his best win in his entire UFC career, undoubtedly. We can all agree to that. And he looked good, man. And shout out to Anthony Smith, man. Like, it's scary, man, because he's getting finished now. Granted, it's like, the first time it's happened in a while. The Magomed Ankalaev loss, that was an injury. He got hurt his ankle. This was a knockout. This was a flush knockout after getting pieced up on the feet, And I think he's taking a lot of damage, man. And I don't know, like, if Smith, because he doesn't have to fight to get paid. The UFC like him. He works the desk. He could. I think they would finally let him commentate a card, not work the desk and like give a prediction before like they go to the commentators. I think they would let him work his way up and commentate a fight night and like do. I think Smith would be so good in the booth with all the knowledge that he has. He has the voice for it. I already watched his podcast, and yeah, man, I think he could do it, man. I really don't think that he has to fight anymore. I'm not calling for him to fight off the quality of his performances. I think he still beats a lot of the lower tier, unranked light heavyweights for sure, absolutely. But it's just only gonna get harder at his age, Like, say after this, right? They match him up with Carlos Ulberg or something like that. You feel me? That's a hard fight, man. That's another hard fight, man. And that dude's like unranked, or I would think he's like, in the bottom of the top 15 now. So, just saying all that because shout out to Anthony Smith. I kind of don't want to give another opponent because I want him to at least take some time off. I want Smith to at least take some time off. Let the rankings shuffle around a little bit off the fights happening, and just let it be that. Khalil, that's what he has to do. Just keep calling guys out, call out the top 5. If I had to give him someone, I'd give him the loser of Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. I give him probably the loser of that fight. Walker's like number 6 fighting number 2. So either coming out of that loss, that'd be fighting up for Khalil, and that'll be a step down in competition for the loser of that fight to get back in the winner's circle. So I wouldn't mind that, I wouldn't mind that. And they need some new faces up there. And Khalil's been around for a long time. You feel me? And he's marketable. He's a cool dude. You feel me? I like his story. So yeah. What are your closing thoughts on the co-main event?
Yeah, I think Anthony Smith, while he had a long, great career, I think he should move into grappling and commentating, like you said. I think grappling is a great idea. There was a GSP when he came on. I forgot what it was for, but he was saying how post-career he wants to see more and more fighters move into grappling instead of fighting until their last like prime, or not prime, but physical peak. Going for those. He's a great guy who could grapple, so that's good for him. So I'm gonna give him. I think he should move into grappling. I don't think he should be getting any UFC fights because it's like a weird spot, right? He like beat Span, but like he's not beating any of these other guys. So was he just gonna keep waiting for that matchup? Like, there's nothing there for Khalil Roundtree. I think he should try and get the fight against Rakic if Yuri doesn't get it. If Yuri gets it, I think. I mean, that loser fight would sound good, right? If you can't get it.
I forgot Rakic isn't fighting Blachowicz anymore. Yeah.
I mean, if he wants to wait for Blachowicz, but you don't know how long that's going to be.
That might be the fight too, man. Because
there's a few options for him, right? There's a few fights. So you could fight the loser. He could wait for Jan, or he could skip Yuri and fight Rakic. So there's 3 options for him.
I like the Blachowicz because like it's perfect for both guys on paper. Like for Jan, like you're 40 going on 41 now. Can you still beat even with some of these younger, faster guys at this point? Not like he's getting blown out in his losses. He lost to Pereira, who's the champ now, and like he's losing close fights, man. Like I get it. He's not getting knocked out. He's not getting finished or TKO'd. Jan Blachowicz. But I just think that on the Khalil side as well, that's a step up. That's a massive step up. That is a golden name all the way. The former UFC light heavyweight champion. That's a golden name, Jan Blachowicz. And that'd be the biggest name on his resume. That'd be the biggest win of his entire career, the former light heavyweight champion. And yeah, man, I think that would just be perfect for both guys in their careers at this moment. For Blachowicz too, like, can you still beat one of these young killers like that? I still think Jan's a good fighter, but I want to see if he's really slowed down in the grand scheme of like compared to one of like the lower guys. Because not many people are gonna consider Khalil Roundtree an upper echelon light heavyweight yet. So
he needs one of these 3 wins.
One of those wins,
one of those to be in the top 2 lightweights. Also, it's going to put him in the top 5. So there's that.
Because don't get me wrong, like Jan is still being competitive. Like he lost to Pereira in a split, and like he had a draw with Magomed. So like he's still being competitive. So I just want to see like if he can still be one of these younger fast killers like that. And Blachowicz, he's 40. And his birthday's on February 24th, man. So it's coming up, man. It's coming up. And yeah, man. That's what I would like to see for Khalil Roundtree. Maybe Blachowicz or like the loser. Really all those 3 names that we named. I think all of those can make sense eventually. And for Smith, I didn't name a fight. I want him to take time off. I low-key want him to go into commentating and just relax, man. He has girls at home, man. He has a family. Like, I think he should just relax, do the podcast, commentate, and just relax and just make money for the rest. Like, you set yourself up. Like, you did it already, I get it, man. You still want to be able to tell your grandkids 25 years from now that you won that belt because the UFC is still going to be here, and you don't want to have just been a fighter, a fighter. And like, you want to be, like, not even a top contender, man. You want to be, like, in the history books forever, man, whether it's a champion, interim, or undisputed, you feel me? So it's just like, that's what you want, you feel me? So yeah, man, but I just hope Smith, and whatever he decides to do, I just hope he takes it easy. Just take it easy, man, and just relax, man. Don't push yourself too hard, man. And that's it, and yeah, man, moving on to the main event of this card, y'all. This is a decent main event, man. Petr Yan tweeted out the yawning emoji. during this card. Now we all know that, like these guys are gonna have beef. They're not gonna like each other. Me personally, I thought it was a decent fight. I thought it was pretty cool. The fifth round, I don't really know what Chris Gutierrez was doing there, to be honest. I really don't know. Like, I don't know what he was trying to do, man. Like, I really don't. Like, you can tell you can tell he was going for the Eminari role, but like
he didn't connect, and he just probably got winded when he was on the ground. When he was on his back, it was probably like comfort for a little second, and he just couldn't react fast enough.
Seriously, man. I think he almost surprised himself when he went for it. Like, he went like he's in mid roll motion, and like he just like you almost just stop yourself because it's like oh my god, like because he didn't think he was trying to do that, but it's like he was acting on instinct in that moment, but it backfired, and it just wasn't good because Mark Montoya had just told him, "Hey man, you're down. Let's go for broke." You feel me?
Yeah.
He went out and he tried to take the fight to the damn ground.
Where he was losing the whole fight,
I mean, it is what it is. I've never stepped in their day in my life. You feel me? So I'll never judge these dudes on their performances. I just hope that he learns from it. But even coming from a dude that has stepped in there many, many times, Paul Felder was infuriated. When Chris Gutierrez, like Paul, I thought Paul was gonna start cursing on the broadcast, man. Paul was furious, man. So, yeah, like I just really don't know what the game plan was. I mean, he was going for the heel hook or something like that, trying to grab the leg, but it was what it was, but on the other side, it was a good performance for Song. In the pre-fight build-up, he was saying it was an easy fight. He was going to walk through him and, he was going to go in there and box him up and pick him apart. And, he looked good. You feel me? It went to a decision. He said in the post-fight that he was sorry for not getting the finish. He knew he wanted to get the finish. I just think the fans with Chris Gutierrez really caused a lot of problems, even for some of the best strikers, even with him losing this fight, And I just think he had a problem dealing with the power of Yadong. I thought when they would exchange, Song hit way harder. I thought he was faster. He's the younger guy, 26 to 32. I just thought he looked good, man. He looked good. It wasn't really falling for the feints too much. They were giving him some problems. That's why I felt like he couldn't really let go the way he really wanted to, out of fear of getting countered or caution of getting countered. And yeah, man, outside of that though, he still won the fight. It was just decision. And he looked good, man. Excuse me, minus 375. I don't really know, that's a little too high, maybe. Because he would have went out there and murdered him in by third round at least, something like that, or at least would have styled on him more, like made it like Marlon Vera versus Rob Font type of styling on him, like that kind of stuff. And yeah, man, it was a good performance for Song. And how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, early in the fight, I was kind of watching, and just in my head, like, randomly, it was like, it didn't feel like Chris was like confident. I was just watching the feints and stuff, and Song just looked so much more confident, but nothing. It was a calm fight, it went to decision. This wasn't Chris's first 5-round fight. I mean, if you look on his Tapology and scroll up, you'll see in other fighting leagues, he's a champion. He fought 5-round fights, but in this first UFC 5-round fight, it didn't look like he had it in him. I mean, he went back to his corner, and I remember his coach telling him, "Are you with me?" And he's like, "Oh, I got hit in the back of the head." He's like, "Okay, I get that. Are you with me?" And he's like, "I just got hit in the back of the head." "Yeah, okay, I'm with you." Like, he wasn't laser sharp that fight. And in 5-round fights, you have to be laser sharp. So right. I think that was one of the biggest problems. It wasn't sharp. This isn't like a knock, right? I'm not trying to like shit on him. I'm just pointing out what I saw personally. It looked like he was looking for the ways out. He was looking for ways out. He kept grabbing the fence. He put hands in the glove.
I saw that round 5. I saw
that.
It
was a lot of things like maybe it was subconscious. Maybe it wasn't even him doing it, but it looked like he kept looking for the ways out of the fight. Yeah, it wasn't the best fight watching. Not a knock to Song, and I'm not trying to knock Chris either. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Nah, yeah. I mean, again, we were talking about this before we went live, y'all. When you're watching these cards, y'all, and you go from fight to fight card to card, you know, you're going to have some cards that really aren't that crazy. You know, it's like, you know, you watch a bunch of NBA games, you're going to have some blowouts, and then you're going to have your triple overtimes and stuff like that. So it's all fights, y'all. It's part of fights, you know. We get through a fight night like this. Not like this was a too bad card. I gave it like a 6 out of 10.
It wasn't horrible, but
I gave it like a 6 out of 10.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I gave it like a 6 out of 10, something like that. But yeah, you know, you get through fights like this, cards like this, so you can get to, you know, stuff like UFC 296. That's like, you know, a monumental. That's like, you know, on UFC 290, how 290 you could go from like fight to fight to fight to fight, like, you know, like from like the moment the pay-per-view starts, not the feature bout. I'm talking like from the moment, like it's like top 5 fights are all so good, one after the other. You feel me? And 296 is literally that, from the fight, from like fight by fight, from Gary and Luke to Patty and Tony to Shopcott and Wonder Boy, and then it's just like that's just crazy, you know. And we finally made it, y'all. The fights are gonna be this Saturday, of course. We finally made it, and yeah, y'all, that was this card. It's a decent fight night. Of course, y'all know we were also gonna talk about newly announced fight that's taking place at UFC 298. We were gonna talk about Merab Dvashvili versus Henry Cejudo. Now, okay, this fight right here, man, it's pretty crazy fight. Of course, they've been going back and forth for months. Merab put out that video talking trash to him, like calling him a piece of, you know, I don't want to say it on here, you know, calling him the S word and all that.
Man, the fans won't know if we don't hear it.
Of course, right? Yeah, nah, man, he was calling him a piece of shit, you know, and all that. You feel me? And it was just crazy to see that the fight hadn't gotten made yet, you know, with all the back and forth, you know. But here we are, UFC 298 in Anaheim, California. It is gonna happen. Now, going into this fight, man, now we all know it's like, you know, what the storyline is. Aljamain Sterling was the UFC bantamweight champion back at UFC 292. He lost to Sean O'Malley, and his best friend is Georgian, Merab Dvashvili. Now, Aljamain was on Mighty Mouse podcast the other day talking about that, hey, man, I'm moving up a weight class, so, you know, I got to eat good. It was one of the first lines he said out the gate. So that really showed you that, all right, bet he's serious about it. He's really serious about really moving up this time. You feel me? And of course, like, it's cool to see he was a man of his word coming off because he said, win or lose, I'm gonna move up. You feel me? He did say it, you know, and it's cool for his boy. You feel me? Now it sucks that Cheeto is fighting for the belt instead of Merab Dvashvili, you know, because I would have liked to see Cheeto versus Henry Cejudo. Matter of fact, they were scheduled to fight originally at UFC 292, but then Henry had injured his shoulder. I think he was doing it was like a fight breakdown or something like that. And then like,
I do remember that. I do.
Yeah, and then like, you know, you see him like he hurt his. You even see him.
The video cut right after. I'm pretty.
I think I hurt my shoulder, so it's like, yeah, man. And it's just like, yeah, man. Like, even with that happening, it was just like, that was really unfortunate. You feel me? But I only mention all that because, like, it's cool to see that Henry's healthy now. He's capable, and like, they're gonna fight. You feel me? So this is gonna be a good fight, man. I think it's a really high level matchup in terms of the grappling and the wrestling. I really want to see how a 37-year-old Henry Cejudo is gonna deal with the pressure of Merab. This man shot for 50 takedowns versus Piotr Jan. It doesn't matter if you land. And I mean, you shot for 50. Like, do you have any idea, like, how many times, how he hitting the underhooks and like all that over and over and over? Like that's crazy. Even having the gas tank, and when the fight was over, he wasn't even tired, man. So it's like, that was like crazy, you know, like the machine, indeed. You feel me? And of course, like I always say, like how I always give the former champions their respect. Merab Dvashvili is fighting the best fighter he has ever faced in his entire career. A regional scene to Ultimate Fighting Championship. It does not matter. It is this is one of the greatest fighters of all time, regardless of weight division. And he's getting a crack at him, man. Henry's staying around. And this is what happens, man. Like, you know, you're gonna fight these young killers, man, if you're older, and especially in these lower weight classes, you know. And of course, Henry can get it done. He looked good in the Sterling fight. UFC 288. It was a split decision. He could have left with his belt that night. Of course, you know, they used to be his belt. He could have came off the couch after a 3-year layoff and became the champion again. He was extremely close. A lot of people had to fight 3-2 for Henry, 3-2 for Aljamain, however you scored it. And it was a good fight. I like 288. I thought it was a real technical matchup. I really liked 288. I enjoyed it.
That was one of my favorite fights that year, that main event.
Yeah, I enjoyed 288. I did. And yeah, man, like that's it, man. Like Merab's coming out. He has the name now. And he's going to try to get it done and get the title shot, man. It would be absolutely tragic if he were to go out there and lose after letting his friend hold the belt for 3 years. And then, like, it would blow up in his face like that. And to go on, and it would be hard to go on another win streak at 33 in the bantamweight division. You feel me? So that would just be really, really hard to do. And yeah, man, I'm just glad the fight's finally made. But how do you feel about it? Love to hear your thoughts, man.
I'm excited. This is a long time waiting. This felt just the same way as Aljamain and Sean. It's like, how long do we gotta wait for this fight to happen? You know, I'm excited for it. I'm a big Cejudo fan. Early prediction right now. I'm not gonna give predictions, but I'm going to the fight. I want Cejudo to win. I think it's a great matchup for Merab. Like, obviously, we've seen how strong he is for that division, and it's definitely his time to go. You know, Aljamain's out now. It's like it's go time. But you're going to put someone like Cejudo in front of you, and just because you train with Aljamain every day and Aljamain beat him doesn't mean nothing. Because this fight's going to be way different. This fight's going to be a lot more wrestling. They're both going to try and get each other against the cage and just wrestle each other. It's going to be technical, but it's going to be different because they're both going to try and use strength a lot more. And Cejudo, he's good, dude. That was his first fight back. Like, he didn't get he just went right for the champion. So now he lost that fight. He did really good. He came really close to winning. It was a very close. I think it was round 2. It was a really close round, and now he gets a chance to do all that training, come back, and now he's fighting Merab. So it's gonna be a great fight. Now we get to see. You know, he always talks about that Olympic championship. So this is the time to prove it. There's never a better time to prove it than right here. So I'm excited for it. It's soon. It is soon.
Yeah, man, it's really cool, man. Like, it's a good fight. I'm really happy they made it. They're gonna talk trash at the press conference. You already know.
Oh, that's gonna be horrible, dude.
Yeah, you already.
That's gonna be a horrible trash talk. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know they're gonna try to talk trash.
So Cejudo's gonna come out with his like pillows and start kicking them again, and Merab gonna start mumbling at him like
at the UFC Brooklyn press conference.
Oh my god, that's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, it's like 5 years ago now. Yeah, man. Like, for this fight, it's just man. Like, Merab's getting a golden name. Like I always say, for the former champions, a golden name. I love that. Like, I love the former champions. I respect all former champions. You feel me? And yeah, man, like, we're just going to see, especially former double champions at that. One of the 4, you feel me? One of the 4, you know, one of the 4 to do one of that, you know, like that accolade, you know, and I really just, a lot of people try to discredit Henry, like when he says the triple C, you know, but again, you got to like, I get it. Like, I feel him on that. You know, he was really the champion of 2 divisions, you know, at one point, you feel me? Especially when no one really thought he'd get the flyweight belt. And to get that, he had to beat Demetrius. Of course, that was controversial. You know, like, that was 50-50. You know, you check MMA decisions, you know, it is what it is. But then, like, yeah, you know, he still won the fights. And the thing about Henry's too, I like his legacy a lot. You know, especially before he came back. You know, it is what it's off the Aljamain loss, but it was because, like, you know, he won the flyweight, and then he defended it by beating TJ. So he had already beaten 2 of the greatest fighters ever to win his flyweight and defend it. And then he went up and won the bantamweight, beating Marlon. And then he defended that against Dominic. So, like, he defended, like you can literally never say he never defended. And the flyweight title defense was like 33 seconds. So it's just like, yeah, man. It's cool to see this fight got made. And even then, y'all looking at the UFC 298 card, last time we were here, it only had the main event. So looking at the card in full, we're starting to get some little sprinkles on this card now. We got Anthony Hernandez versus Ikram Aleskarov. We got Merab Dvashvili versus Henry Cejudo. In my opinion, when the bout order is done,
that's gotta be the co-main, man.
So yeah, and no less than featured bout or co-main. If they get 2 title fights, that would be cool. But if not, that's gonna be the co-main event 1000%.
I think 2 is pushing it because we still got 300 around the corner. We need to save some belts for that.
Yeah.
But I don't see a reason that should be the co-main right there. Ikram and Anthony.
No, it's not.
It's not even a knock, but man, we got 2 top contenders versus 2 bottom ranked.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not. When it's like this in Tapology, before all 14, 13 to 15 fights get in. This is just before the workers of Tapology fix it. It's just the bout order. But yeah, I do think that's going to be at least feature bout or a co-main event, of course. And it's a good card, man. Marcos Jr. the Lima versus Justin Tafa.
That's a good one. I'm excited for that because we didn't really get to see Marcos last night. He got knocked out by Derek
Lewis. So he's coming back after the flying knee. That was sad. He was saying that it was hard for him to swallow food and his teeth were loose and stuff like that for a week. It was that was really sad, And I picked Derek Lewis to win that fight, back when he was watching that card, and yeah, man, but yeah, again, Andrea Lee versus Miranda Maverick. It's a good fight between the flyweight ladies, and yeah, man, it's just the card shaping up pretty nicely, and we got that glorious main event, that glorious main event. If you check it before we get out of here,
let's go there.
If you check it and you scroll down, you can actually see that it's rather competitive. It's out of 359 votes, it is 50-50. So that really means people really have this fight being that close, y'all. So yeah, man. That's 298, y'all. It's gonna be a good card. Wanted to talk about this because we had discussed 297, and 296, and just definitely wanted to get to 298, and if we haven't talked about 297, we're definitely going to talk about that at a later video, with the Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. Can't wait for that, but of course, a lot of fights going on, got to save them for further episodes, but yeah, y'all, that was it today for me, unless you had anything else you want to talk about, Nikki, or
I think we're good. If you haven't seen that 297 poster, go check that out because it looks really good. The Canada poster. We got Canada, we got Los Angeles, and then we are going to Miami.
Yeah.
And then back to Vegas, right? For 300?
I think, I hope so. Because, I hope so, man. I really hope so. To have any chance of possibly going to that card as a fan, it has to be in Vegas.
We got some great cards coming up, man.
I just pray to God they don't pull Abu Dhabi out their asses for you, for 300.
They wouldn't do it on short notice for the fight.
I'm knocking on wood right now. I don't think they are.
They wouldn't. I don't see that.
And
he did say though he wants to go there this year. I could see them going there for a nice fight night with a lot of a lot of fighters from there.
Hey, UFC Saudi Arabia is on March 2nd, so they're doing it, they're showing that they will go there for a fight night, and I don't think they're gonna have Islam on a fight night. He has to do a pay-per-view.
We ain't complaining if he's there, right?
Yeah, if he was, it'd be whatever.
Who's complaining for a free Islam fight? Not me.
Of course, not me. It was back on UFC or Noche UFC. Or UFC Noche, how some people called it. The Mexican Independence Day card. That was damn near a free pay-per-view. As the card played out and all those crazy finishes happened, and then we got that crazy main event between Valentina and Alexa that really felt like a pay-per-view. The main event ended in a draw that time, and that was a good draw. That was a fine draw. That was just a really, really, really crazy fight. Even though I thought Valentina won. But yeah, man. that was it for us tonight, y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining us on this late night live. We will be doing more of these in the future, just based on how it's like my man Nicky will be busy with his classes all day, and I'll be at work, working my hours, and I'll get home around like 10, 11 sometimes, and I got to catch him when he's done with his homework, because if he starts to do his homework, we got to prioritize, but we always get these out when we can. And we love it when you guys comment, subscribe, anything showing support. We love it when you guys watch the videos and comment on Twitter and, go back and forth with us. So we always really appreciate it. And thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for joining us for episode 3 of the MMAHOLICS. We had to get this out for you guys. And we do plan on going live on Tuesday for our UFC 296 preview. So please, please, please join us back for our 296 preview. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Edwards versus Covington, a lot of storylines on that card. It's a lot to discuss. It's a lot of storylines, you feel me? And we haven't had a pay-per-view in over 30 days. 295 was on November 11th. 296 is on December 16th. So it's like over 30 days since we had a pay-per-view versus some months, y'all, where we get 2 pay-per-views a month. Like in March, 285 was on March 4th, and 286, Edwards versus Usman 3, that was on March 18th. That was 2 weeks apart. We got pay-per-views, y'all. So need that pay-per-view, y'all, most definitely. But thank y'all so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really, 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 really does mean a lot, y'all. We're just trying to get our channel out there more and working really hard for you guys to get more content out. And don't forget, we can discuss anything in the chat, from video games to movies, anime, anything you guys like. But of course, we bring it back and we're centered around MMA. And God bless y'all and good night. Thank y'all so much for joining us, and thank you.